Hi, Deepa Rani Shekhar from Transform Life Programs. Love and light. Friends, how much are we living in fear? Fear of what happens. Especially 2020 has been a year that has just turned loads and loads of fear inside out. It's just raining fear everywhere. Fear of the pandemic, fear of a financial crunch, fear of loss of jobs, fear of loss of business, fear of loss of an academic year, fear of being exposed to the pandemic. It's fear everywhere. How many of us feel this? God, why don't you stop all this? Why aren't you listening to our prayers? Do we feel this? Yes, at times we all feel this. Because we think God has to listen to our prayers and say Amen and do it right then and there. But, friends, how much have we listened to God when He sent signals, when He sent little things for us to understand? How much did we listen to the universe, to nature, about what we were doing, about how much havoc we were wreaking at the universe, at the nature, how much self centered we had become, how greedy we had become? Did we really? Is a question you might ask me. Okay, let me tell you this story to say how God can listen to us or can turn a deaf ear to us. There was this huge audience who were watching a tightrope walker, and the tightrope walker had tied his rope from the window of a 13th floor to the window of another building, another floor, another complex of 13th floor. So it was around 30 feet from this end to that end. And you know what a tightrope walking is, right? He just walked through. And in the second round, he took his accomplice, his partner, whatever you call him, on his shoulder and walked with a stick. You know, they usually have a stick to balance, a pole to balance. And then he dropped the stick, the pole, and still balanced. Then the third round, he did it blindfolded with his partner on his shoulder. While midway they stopped, the partner stood on his shoulders, bent and did some acrobatics, while the crowd stood mesmerized, some of them shocked, some of them cheering, some of them breathless because it was a breathtaking scene. And eventually he came to the other end. The crowd cheered them like crazy. The crowd just cheered them. Yeah, they deserve it. Yeah, the same thought like you think. They deserved it. And then they did give a lot of money to the third partner or accomplice who was collecting money from the crowd. And then, with a speaker, the tightrope walker made an announcement. Did you all like it? Yay! The crowd went ecstatic, ecstatic. And then he said, would you like to see me perform again? Yay! Once more, once more, once more. The crowd went ecstatic again. This time there was a small tweak. And the tightrope walker said, would any of you, among you, want to ride on my shoulder? The crowd went quiet. Nobody volunteered. Nobody cheered. There was pin drop silence. So what does this tell you, friends? They had seen the tightrope walker perform. They had absolute belief that he will cross over. But somewhere they did not have the faith to ride here on the tightrope walker's shoulder. You know, when you throw a child up, the child smiles because the child knows, the child has belief and faith and trust that you're going to hold the child. For an adult, me having been into corporate training, In exercises, when we ask people to be blindfolded and led through by another person, it's very difficult. And if we ask a person to fall and ask somebody else to hold, some people cannot just do that because they have trust issues. So, here, what is our trust issue with God? How much do we trust Him? How much do we believe Him? How much of faith do we have in Him? All the temple going, all the rituals we do, all the scripture reading, all the chanting, hymns that we do we do it in faith or fear? Do we do it with gratitude or fear? What is that we are doing? So, why is this spiking? Why is this not spiraling down? It's just spiking up, it's not spiraling down. So, where is that we are like this crowd who believe in God, but we do not have enough faith? Until and unless we have absolute faith, will God listen to us? And have we really listened to Him? Have we really given a thought there? Everywhere we keep saying, this is happening, that is happening. We keep saying, we can control the pandemic like this. There is this drug, but nothing is proven it. We might say 101 things, but how many of us are willing to be exposed? How many of us are trying to leverage our own religion, our own country, or our own race as superior by saying, this is a way of life, Yes, I am a Hindu and I'm proud to be one. And I don't grudge it if anyone else from any other religion says so. It's our right to be proud to the religion that we are born in. But still, with regret, I see posts and feel aghast when people say Hinduism is a way of life. Yet it was for one point in time. Nothing can be a constant. Things keep changing. Then you can't say hijab is a way of life because we are all masked now. So nothing is constant. Just hope for this pandemic to go away so that we can be free in this loving world that we used to live. Are we wishing for this way of life to continue? So why are we trying to glorify the way of life of not being close to each other, of social distancing and whatnot? I, as a Heal Your Life workshop leader, I know what it means to hug a person, to hold a person and say, I love you. Of course, today it might not be possible because of the social distancing, because of the current scenario, but I don't wish this to continue. I don't want this to become a way of life. I believe all this is going to end sometime. Do you believe that? And I have absolute faith that things are going to be back like it was in the glorious golden days. How much would you like the glorious golden days to come back, or do you want to glorify ways of life? Okay, when you say way of life, the toilet, there were forwards and messages which said the toilet was outside. People used to wash their feet when they enter the house. Tell me, how much ever you say it's a way of life, is your toilet inside your house or outside your house? You don't have to answer me, answer it to yourself. How many of you have the provision in your independent or house or apartments where you can wash your feet and enter? Yeah, we may enter and go to the bathroom and wash our feet. But how many of us have this provision, and how many of us can, this is just one thing I'm talking about, incorporate this practice of washing our feet and entering, or have the washrooms outside the house? Is it possible to accommodate in our living spaces today? Then why are we glorifying something which we cannot follow? And why are we going into bloody generalizations? Just because somebody did it, we're just generalizing everything. There was this other forward, it's a sculpture where a man is being stabbed by another man. And the message goes, this is a testimonial that India was very well in trade and travel. Indians had traveled worldwide. Fine, happy. And the man stabbing them from the back is a Chinese man. So our ancestors gave us the hint that never trust a Chinese man. First of all, how sure are we it is a Chinese man? Second, okay, agreed, if it's a Chinese man and he backstabbed, okay, but then for one person, are you going to go into a xenophobia and create hate, an atmosphere of hate? We already have enough with a pandemic. Do we go into xenophobia? And tell me another thing, a Chinese man stabbing is an issue. Then, when there was the colonial rule, how many of our own kings, trusted attendants, trusted ministers, or trusted treasurers, or men of armed personnel backstabbed the king, gave vital information to the British, and made the kingdom come to a downfall, made the king lose out in war because they had given vital information to the British, or they had backstabbed the king. Why aren't we talking about that? Just one issue, don't blow it out of proportion. Shall we stick to where we are and have the faith that the pandemic is going to end? Can we focus on love? Can we focus on a better tomorrow, which is healthy, happy? And yeah, geographic boundaries are for practical reasons to recognize certain things, not to be hate mongers. Religion again is for reaching a space of love, reaching a space of spiritual ascension, never to fight with each other, never to be hate mongers. Tell me which religion says you have to hate the other religion, then that religion is definitely not worth it, friends. And even if the religion says so, it is misinterpreted. No religion can be stemming from hate. I hope you understand with me. And at least if we cannot change everything outside, can we stop forwarding and reacting to these messages which probably are baseless, one-sided, or too narrow fixed? Thank you for joining me, Deepa Rani Shekhar from Transform Life Programs. Love and light.